Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Geography e-learning for today. Today's topic is going to be a heavy one. Today, we're talking about ethnic violence that has taken place in Africa. Should be noted that some of the worst ethnic violence, the worst atrocities, the worst fighting anywhere in the world when it comes to ethnicities has taken place in Africa. This map shows you where some of those places are located. The blue indicates that you really don't have anything going on. The red indicates places where there is, quite a bit of ethnic violence going on, and the brown dots show you, some of the, current conflicts that are going on. Obviously, the more brown dots that you see, the more conflict that is going on. As you can see, some of this is taking place in places that we've already talked about. For example, Liberia, Nigeria, places like Democratic Republic of the Congo. You're seeing ethnic violence taking place in those types of places. Some of the places we'll be talking about, later on in the next couple of days, places like Zimbabwe and Mozambique. But some of the absolute worst of this, some of the most widespread, the part of the world that has the greatest rate or the highest rate of ethnic violence of anywhere in the world is this area right here, what we call the Horn of Africa. It gets the nickname the Horn of Africa because it kind of resembles a rhino's horn. If you look at it sideways, that's a rhino's horn. So this is going to be the Horn of Africa, and once again, this is where some of the worst of ethnic violence is currently happening. Places like Ethiopia, South Sudan. Sudan used to be one country. Ethnic violence split it into Sudan and South Sudan. This is where a lot of that ethnic violence is happening. Places like Rwanda and Uganda are going to be places in East Africa that are going to have some of the worst atrocities taking place. So the question we really need to kind of ask ourselves is why? Why are these things happening? There's no one reason. There's lots of different excuses as to why these things might happen. For example, here in Ethiopia, a place like that, the availability of resources or the lack of available resources, lack of food due to drought and famine that has happened there over the years, that becomes a reason for people to say, "Hey, I'm going to try to keep all of these resources for my ethnic group. So I'm going to fight against another ethnic group to prevent them from gaining access to it." This place, if you look at it physically, it makes perfect sense why it would have the drought and the famine that it does, and we'll cover that um, a little bit later on the next couple of days. But lack of resources, lack of food, it would be a reason why you'd see some of that happening. In other places like South Sudan and Rwanda, that comes down to ethnic groups. When Europeans were still here, one of the things that they did was, hey, I'm going to draw boundaries that reflect the area that I'm colonizing. When they did that, they paid little to no attention to the actual ethnic groups living there. If you do that, well, the end result is you get a situation where you'll have certain ethnic groups that will be living in the same country that just don't get along. Suddenly, they're forced to be under one government, one economic system. They're forced to work together, and historically, they don't like each other. You've got some ethnic groups that are split up into two different countries, weakening their ability to really kind of do anything. So having different ethnic groups um, forced to work together has created some of these ethnic problems. Another place, like for example, Uganda, it's been more government. government control, who has power within that place. You'll look at it that way, and it becomes, I want my ethnic group to be the ruling group in our country, so I'm going to take government power by force. So lots of different reasons why ethnic violence exists. But some of the things that come out of this are going to be because of, are going to be things like hunger, starvation, and just some of the worst atrocities. Some of it can be as simple as intimidation. Some of it can go as far as executions and genocide. So you've seen a lot of different places in Africa where this is happening, and hopefully this is something that can be worked out in the future. But ultimately, there's no one reason why.